Twitch just made one of the worst changes of all time. It will affect this channel, and it will affect many of your favorite streamers' channels as well. This isn't the type of video I usually make, but since this is going to have a major impact on this channel, at least for a while, I need to talk about it. Twitch just made a change to their highlight feature, which is something that you as a viewer probably aren't familiar with, but likely a lot of streamers that you watch, especially if you watch stream VODs on YouTube or any other platform, are probably using. Hundreds of thousands of hours of stream archives are about to be deleted, and unless Twitch rolls back this change, there isn't really anything that can be done about it. Before I go much further, I gotta get something straight. I use Twitch for live streaming because I like the live viewing and chat experience, as well as some of the content management and moderation tools on the streaming side of things. But with that said, I have no real love for Twitch. It is an extremely flawed platform with a lot of issues, with no real excuse for not having fixed them or improved them, because it's owned by one of the largest companies on the planet, Amazon. I do still believe Twitch is a good platform for live streaming, or at least it's better than its alternatives, but the tools it offers for literally anything beyond live streaming are frankly pitiful. And just because Twitch is a live streaming platform first and foremost doesn't excuse how historically awful basically everything outside of that is and has always been on the website. What I'm talking about today is the highlight feature, which used to allow for unlimited storage, but announced yesterday will be reduced to 100 hours of storage. At first, that may sound like a lot, but I keep a relatively light stream schedule, and I calculated that at the current rate I stream, which is about 3 times a week for 4 hours, this is about 3 months of streams that I could store, just to put that into perspective. Twitch claims that only 0.5% of streamers use that much storage, and I'm sure under some light that's true, but I'd love to instead know how many affiliates or partners use this much. I think that'd be a much more meaningful statistic. Since if we're counting everyone who streams on the website, I simply don't care that a guy who streamed Counter-Strike once for an hour hasn't used his 100 allotted hours of highlights, because of course he hasn't. 100 hours is still a significant amount in some sense. It's at least largely more than Twitch allows you to store VODs, which currently expire 2 weeks after their original stream date, regardless of their length. Twitch also claims the highlight feature only accounts for 0.1% of watch time, which I'm also sure is true, but it doesn't tell the full story either. See, the usefulness of the highlight feature is not what Twitch thinks it is. I don't create and post highlights for people to watch on Twitch. I do so to save stream segments that will eventually become YouTube content. Whether I upload them directly here to this channel, Dumpsterman Extra, which is pretty much exclusively my VOD channel, or save them to download for editing later, or to easily send to an editor to work on. I do save most of my streams as highlights to work with to create long-form, permanent content out of in the future. And I can't imagine I'm the only one. In fact, I know that a huge streamer like Northern Lion uses this feature nearly exclusively to create the content that is uploaded to his YouTube channel with 1.2 million subscribers. Additionally, lots of speedruns, esports VODs, and so on and so forth are saved in this format as well. You can expect a lot of that to go away forever. Now, you could say these should have been saved or uploaded somewhere else, and while I sort of agree, Twitch has never really given any indication that this feature would go away or be gutted in the way that it is being. So I can't exactly blame people for not taking the initiative on that. Now, you can still create highlights, but if you're a streamer that saves highlights often, the vast majority of them are going away 2 months from yesterday. I'm lucky to have painstakingly uploaded essentially all of my past streams here to this channel as YouTube videos, which has no storage limit and won't eventually expire. Now, you might say YouTube is a huge website owned by Google, one of the largest companies on earth. So it's just a shame that Twitch is a small indie company struggling to make ends meet. Oh, wait. Yeah. The worst of all is that while streamers over this limit will have 2 months to clean up their highlights to get under the 100-hour limit, currently my highlight feature, which I use on a daily basis to make YouTube content for this channel, looks like this. Yeah, I can't even use it until I delete over 1,000 hours of my past stream highlights with just absolutely no warning. A vital tool that I use for income and discoverability has been completely cut off from me. I could just mass delete VODs, sure, but there is definitely still stuff in there that I want. So my only real option now is just to comb through them and make sure I don't accidentally delete something that I want to keep. But then if I do decide to keep old VODs, they count against this 100-hour limit that I'm arbitrarily always at risk of going over. And if I do decide to wait until that April 19th date, my highlights will just be automatically deleted for me. Just as an example, last year I uploaded my first ever Ultra Kill streams to this channel for the first time. Now this was vital, foundational content to my channel from 2021 that was previously unavailable in long form on this channel. And I wouldn't have even been able to access it had they not been saved way before as Twitch highlights. Again, like I said, under this new system, I'll be able to save about 3 months of highlights the way I save them currently. 3 months might sound like a decent amount of time, but I keep a fairly light stream schedule, all things considered. Almost assuredly, some streamers are hitting this in a month or even weeks. And I definitely revisit highlights I made more than 3 months ago all the time. Sometimes an edit for a main channel video has footage missing and I go back to the original stream to revisit and get those clips that I missed. Sometimes I have an idea for a video after the fact and go back to old footage for the edit. This is all no longer going to be an option for me, or at least not reliably on Twitch. As for why Twitch is making this change, I'd chalk it up to a fundamental misunderstanding of what people even use this feature for in the first place and why they even use it at all. But their explanation reads, "We originally launched highlights to help streamers create highlight reels of their best moments to engage new viewers on Twitch," which again, I think is a complete misunderstanding of how this feature is being used in reality. However, highlights hasn't been very effective in driving discovery or engagement with viewers compared to features like clips, tags, and mobile discovery feed. Again, at least those last two, not useful. Despite low effectiveness, some users have accrued thousands of hours of highlights and uploads, often used to create highlights over time. I wonder why that might be. And the most insulting part of all is that they say the storage of this content is costly. And now I'm sure there's truth to that, but need I remind you, this is Amazon, one of the largest, most valuable companies on earth, and the owner of a little thing called Amazon Web Services. Twitch is not a video on demand service first and foremost. Yes, this is true, but YouTube provides an effectively unlimited amount of video storage to a much larger user base and allows live streaming as well on top of that. Twitch is not a small company. It's Amazon. And if the decision is about money, does gutting a feature that by their own admission only 0.5% of users are even using at all make any sense whatsoever? And let's not fail to mention the reason that the feature isn't getting used as much as Twitch would maybe like. Twitch's idea of the highlights feature is that you will create little videos, put them on your channel, and then viewers will stay on your channel, maybe even while you're offline, and watch these little chunks of your stream. Never has this been the case in practice though, because there's no point. Highlights are difficult to find, access, and have zero discoverability for people who aren't already familiar with your channel and know exactly what they're looking for. And they're even more terrible to watch. Watching video on demand on Twitch is a genuinely terrible experience, with ads being served like every 5 minutes. Any streamer worth their salt is putting this content on another website and directing their audience there instead. Where highlights are useful though, is creating a pipeline to a website with more discoverability. And that's what I use it for. This entire channel where you are watching this is built on Twitch's highlight feature. Now, instead of actually improving this highlight feature or catering it more to how streamers are actually using it, Twitch has just instead decided you don't get your old VODs anymore. And hey, if you unknowingly went over our arbitrary limit before we even announced it, let alone introduce this limit, guess what? You can't even use the highlight feature anymore until you comply. If this change goes through, streamers with full teams of editors will undoubtedly find a way to make things work. Hell, even though I am the only one working on any of my channels like 95% of the time, I too will probably find a way. But would it kill Twitch to preserve even an ounce of goodwill with streamers after years of terrible decisions? Their goal is to focus what they'll be skimming off of the highlights feature into things like clips and the mobile feed. Now, clips are great, but their use case is functionally way different from highlights, and the mobile feed, Twitch describes this as being effective, but I've never met a soul who uses that crap, creator or viewer. I think I speak for 90% of the streamers, at least that I know, when I say what we want is either actual real discoverability tools that will help us grow our audience on Twitch, or at the very least, not to have what little tools we do have to help more easily build a presence elsewhere where there is discoverability to not be completely gutted. At the risk of sounding entitled, I just think this is another in a long line of anti-creator decisions that Twitch has made. Increasingly, there is no reason to be on their platform outside of streaming content that will be viewed live and then forgotten about. All while Twitch props up their useless half attempts at creating discoverability like whatever the hell the mobile feed is. I hope Twitch rolls this back or at least implements a highlight limit in a more reasonable and flexible manner, with understanding that some streamers have built up a library of important content within their highlights that can't so easily be parted with, but I really doubt they'll do anything. Instead, I guess I'm making this video just to explain why you, the viewer, should care. since you probably don't directly use or maybe even know about highlights. I at least just wanted to illustrate that channels like mine actually do use it extensively, and this change will affect many of them. Normal VOD uploads will eventually continue here, but for now, I either can't upload them or I have to use a workaround for the highlight system, which will delay them by at least a day or two. Huge mistake, Twitch. I hope you reconsider. Have a good one.